We're at that point in plant collecting, buying plants because they look dead. They're what you would think of as like a Tim Burton plant. They look gross, and I kind of love how gross they look. Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. It is officially spooky season. We are in October, and so that means it's time for my spooky videos to commence. Let's be honest, I'm not a scary horror person kind of gal. I'm more of the spooky dooky kind of gal. So today I am here sharing with you some weird and wonderful, spooky, strange, somewhat creepy houseplants that I have in my collection. I did do a video similar to this last year, sharing some, and I'm pretty sure all of these ones are new. But these are some of the weird and wonderful things I have going on in my collection right now. Before I get into it, I just want to say if you're new here and you don't know me already, hi, my name is Emma and I make houseplanting content all over the internet. So if you want to follow along with my houseplanting journey and maybe learn something along the way, stick around, watch some more of my videos, and subscribe to my channel. If you're not new here, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate it. Let's get into the video. So the first one that I want to talk about is actually the first one that came to my mind when I was thinking of spooky plants. It is the Philodendron Tortum. And this on its own might not look super spooky, but the weirdest thing about this plant is when it's unfurling, it looks like a little mummy unfurling, or like a hand like slowly coming out, like a skeleton hand. Unfortunately, I don't have any new leaves coming in right now, so it's kind of hard to show you that part. But I'll be sure to insert a picture so you can see what it looks like as it's opening, because it is really like weird. It's kind of wrinkly and strange and not something you would think of when you think of like plant. Like these leaves, they don't look like leaves, really. They look more like weird skeleton fingers or tentacles or something strange. But I freaking love this one. It is a fairly easy care plant. I've not had that many issues with it, and I really like it. It's a good one to have if you want to branch out in your philodendron collection. I keep poking myself in the face with it. It's kind of like very sprawly, which is fine. It just doesn't look like how I would think a plant would look. So yeah, the Philodendron Tortum. Next, we have this one, which, I mean, you can probably guess why I think this one is weird and spooky. This is a Begonia Arabian Sunset, or Arabia Sunset, and I've had it for a while now. And the fronts of the leaves are like almost a black in how dark this green is. And then the backs of these leaves are blood red. Like incredibly blood red, which is so strange. And I don't know how well you're gonna be able to, like, if it's gonna pick up, but the leaves have these like little hairs on them, little bumps with hair, and they like, I definitely have some microscope footage I can show you as well of this one, but the little hairs on them look like weird little like human hairs. Like it's what I would imagine a beard would look like stubble under a microscope. That's what this looks like in my mind, which is so surreal and weird. And I'm not normally into like red sort of plants, but this one, I think because it is so dark green, almost black on the front of it, I can like get behind it. And it's actually growing really well for me. I've only had success with Begonia in semi-hydro. It's the only way. Yeah, I'm glad that I've been able to get this one to grow. I got it as like a tiny little cutting a while ago, and it is doing really well still and continuing to grow very nicely. And it's weird, like I can't believe how blood red that is. Sorry if it's overexposing stuff, but like it is the weirdest begonia. I mean, not the weirdest begonia. There's some pretty weird begonias out there, but it's the weirdest begonia I own. I own 2 begonias. But this one is weird regardless of whether or not I owned 2 begonias. Just a very strange, sort of unexpected sort of plant. Another furry one that I have is this. And I don't know if it will pick up properly on camera because it, like, this one almost looks like it is glowing most of the time because its leaves, again, have hair on them. Tiny, 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 bright purple fluorescent hairs, like very Halloween purple in its color. You can kind of get it a bit more on the stem and the backs of the leaves, that really bright purple, but they're on the fronts of the leaves as well. They're just really hard to see when you're looking like straight at them. But this one is, oh gosh, I know it as a purple passion plant, but it's got a longer Latin name, which I'll put on the screen somewhere. And this one is so soft. Whereas the Begonia, it's like kind of more stubbly feeling. This one feels furry, which is so strange and out there. And like, I don't know, I still don't know how I feel about this plant because it is quite bright for me, but I do love purple as a color. So like, I think I can get behind it. And it's only purple in certain lights as well. It looks way purple for me here because I'm looking at it with a light facing me. But yeah, it's just a really funky one. And its leaves, like the shape of the leaves, they're very like pointy and they kind of curl over and like they're what you would think of as like a Tim Burton plant. I could imagine Tim Burton creating a plant and it looking like this because they're all like, that was weird. I don't know why I did that, but that's how I feel when I look at this plant. It's just, it reminds me of Halloween, and so that's why it's on this list. Next up, we've got this one, which I literally bought specifically with this video in mind. I got this from Conservatory Archives in my cactus haul with them, and I saw it online and I immediately knew that I needed to have this one for my Halloween video because these weird long sort of spines almost, I wouldn't call these the spines of the plant, but these, to me, they look like ugly, dirty witch fingernails because they're kind of brown and streaky and they look like you've been digging around in some mud, you've not taken care of them, and they're really long and like, but yeah, I bought this plant purely because I think it looks weird and strange and Halloween-y. This one is a Tephro-cactus, Papyracanthus. I mean, I don't really think of that as a name. I'm still not great at cacti and succulent names. In my brain, this is like the papyrus cactus because of the Papyracanthus name, and because these also, like, if they weren't fingernails, they do kind of look like papyrus or old paper. I could imagine someone like trying to make paper out of these. Maybe you could take them off and like write little notes on them and like tie them up and give them to a friend if you wanted to. But yeah, they look gross, and I kind of love how gross they look. It's just a bit of fun and weirdness, and I feel like a lot of cacti and succulents end up on weird plant lists. Like last night I was with my patrons on a live chat and we did a spooky weird plant show and tell so we could see all of the like fun funky plants from everybody's collections, and a lot of them did end up being cacti and succulents because I feel like if you're more of a tropical plant aroid kind of person, cacti and succulents are just extra weird to people like me / us. So yeah, it's just a fun, weird, and wonderful one. Another, actually I think this is a succulent, yeah. This one. This is called a dead stick plant because it looks like a bush without leaves on it, and this is actually a survival mechanism for this plant. They normally live, I believe, in deserts. I could be wrong, but where they live in their natural habitat, they look like dead plants without leaves so that animals don't come out and eat them because they've not got the leaves. So like there's nothing to eat off of it. And so it uses that technique to stay alive in the wilderness. So like this one purposefully looks like a dead plant, and I freaking love it. I don't get how it stands so straight up as well. Like they're kind of floppy, but they don't hang down like I would think they would, like more like a Ripsalis. I don't know that off the top of my head the Latin name of this one either, but again, I will put it on the screen. And yeah, I really love the sort of variegation on the blades of this one. You can see there's sort of like white and green marbles, which I think is really, really cool. It kind of takes away from the dead stickness of it. I think they would look more dead sticky if they were in like brighter sun, but it does have some like really dark tips on it. I think because I've got it in my cactus cabinet and that has really, really high light, the sort of really high light is making it go more brown colored and hence look more dead. So I can imagine if it was growing in full sun all the time, it would look like really like wood dead plant. Which is really cool. And I bought this one because I liked that it looked dead. Which is weird. You wouldn't think that you'd want to be buying plants that look dead on purpose, but apparently I am. So we're at that point in plant collecting, buying plants because they look dead. One that doesn't look as dead is this one. This is my Alocasia Melo or Maharani. I'm not sure. I bought it as a Melo, but the darkness of these leaves makes me think that it's probably a Maharani. And I picked this one for my Weird and Wonderful because of the insane texture that these leaves have. They're also known as rhino skin. Oh, also look at my nails. I did little ghosties on them. I did these by myself. My little ghosty nails. But they call it a rhino skin because the texture on it is kind of like a weird rhino skin, especially when they are a bit more silver. Is this one a bit more silver? A little bit. Like, it looks like the skin of a rhino, and it's got this really weird sort of cellular texture, which is unlike, to me, a lot of other alocasias out there. I kind of know my alocasias for being quite smooth, or if they're not like smooth and shiny like the poly, they're like a dragon scale, so they're matte, but they're still smooth. Whereas this one is like, it almost feels like a very fine grit sandpaper. I wouldn't use it as sandpaper, but it kind of feels like that. And this one is doing really, really well as well. It's got a new leaf coming in here, and I'm curious to see whether or not this new leaf comes in a little bit more gray. I guess we will see when it does come out. If it comes out dark, I probably will have to not like discount this as a Maharani because a Maharani's cool, but I don't think, like, if it's not the gray, it's not a Melo, right? If anyone has any thoughts on this, on which one it could be, let me know. It will be gladly appreciated, but it's just a fun, weird, like, it looks like weird skin or leather sort of plant. And then the last one on my list this year is this. This is a monkey tail cactus, and to me, these look like taxidermied monkey tails stuck in a pot. And the cool thing about these is you would think that they're spiky, but they're not. They're kind of like soft. I guess if you rub it going the wrong direction, it might spike you, but if you're rubbing it downwards, they are really soft like monkey tails. And like, it just looks like I've got a little monkey. Imagine a monkey sitting on top of this pot and this is its little tail. So freaking cute and cool and weird. And I feel like this is weird even for a cactus. I know it is a jungle cactus, but whenever I think of cacti like this, my brain immediately goes to those ones that like jump and climb on you outdoors, like in Joshua Tree or whatever. I don't know what they're called. But there's ones that, like, if you get too close, they'll basically jump to you and then they're stuck on you and will kind of climb up your legs, which sounds really weird, but they've got weird barbed things. But this one, the amount of spines on it reminds me of that quite a lot, and so it feels almost like I'm doing something wrong by petting it, which adds to its weirdness and wonderfulness. I have also heard very recently that these grow better during the cooler, darker months, which I am really quite looking forward to, seeing as we are going into the autumn and winter seasons. Like, the fact that it might grow more during this darker time could be very, very interesting, and I'm excited to watch to see if that is the case for mine. I have had mine in a bright southwest facing window, so it is getting quite a lot of light. It did all summer, and it did grow a little bit. There are some bits of growth in here, but I guess I can compare it to what it looked like at the end of this winter, and we can see if it grew better during this past summer or during the upcoming winter. So yeah, this is my cool last weird, funky, strange plant that reminds me of taxidermy. So yeah, that is the weirdest, most wonderful plants that I have in my collection at the minute. A lot of fun, strange things. If you're interested in getting some cool new strange plants, use this video as inspiration for you, and I hope that you can enjoy the oddities that are houseplants out there. Before I end this video, I want to say a huge thank you to the newest members of my Good Growing fam. Again, we've had a little bit of an influx, which warms my heart. I'm so glad that more of you are joining, and I actually got to meet some of you in last night's Patreon live chat, which is super exciting. So thank you so much to Gwen, Christian, Lucy, and Clary for joining in. I hope that you enjoy it over there. If anybody else is interested in joining my Patreon, it is £3 or $4 or euros-ish a month. I don't know the exact conversion. And you get everything for that price, including bonus videos and like more insights into my life in those especially, and live chats and voting power and all those sort of fun things. Obviously, no pressure if you're not interested. That's absolutely fine. It just makes my life a little bit easier and you get to know me a bit better. So yeah. Thank you so much to the rest of you for being here in my first Halloween video of this year. There will be more to come. I am really, really excited about them. I've been saving up my Halloween-y ideas for this month. And yeah, I hope you really enjoyed them. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on your most weird, wonderful, scary, spooky, strange houseplants that you have in your collection, because I would love to add them to mine as well, potentially. And yeah, any other houseplanty things you'd like me to talk about, again, comment it down below. And of course, subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Do not forget to keep growing. Bye!